Welcome to the Podium Athlete, where we bring together elite athletes and coaches from around the world to discuss youth sports, mindset, training, in the pursuit of reaching the podium. I am your host, Chris Fote, a three-time Olympian and the current head coach of the USA bobsled team. Today's guest is Kyle Hartzell. He is known for being one of the toughest defenders in all of lacrosse. From being overlooked and unrecruited in high school to grinding his way through a Division III program, Kyle refused to quit. That relentless drive carried him all the way to the Premier Lacrosse League, to representing Team USA, and then a head coaching role at the University of Texas. Along the way, Kyle always found a way to win championships at every level. And in 2018, he claimed the ultimate prize, a world title. This is the story of grit, belief, and the power of relentless work. So we're here with Kyle Hartzell, college lacrosse player, professional lacrosse player, world champion in 2018. Also, we're a coach at University of Texas.
Yes, sir.
Go Longhorns.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about what you are currently doing.
So currently, I have a full-time business called Defensive Academy. I've actually rebranded it in System 81. It's called System 81 now. 81 was my number all throughout the pros. It's kind of like my system, kind of training how I got to where I got and kind of spreading my knowledge of the game to kids here in Utah. And then I do travel quite a bit, travel the country, go to different cities, pop in clinics, camps, summer camps. But I got a baby girl on the way in November, so the traveling.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. So the traveling is probably going to stop. So a lot of the stuff that I'm doing now is focused here in Utah. I got named the Director of Player Development for Utah Summit Lacrosse.
Very cool.
Which is one of the biggest club lacrosse program here in the state of Utah. They're getting kids Division I scholarships. They have club teams all the way from first grade all the way up to high school. So a lot of kids in the program and a lot of kids that want to get to the next level. So
okay. Yeah, so you've been doing lacrosse then for a long time. So you played in high school, college, played pro, then you switched over to coaching. So you're still involved, but kind of doing your own thing now.
Yeah, and pro was never on my radar. I didn't start playing until I was like ninth grade year of high school. So I was just kind of having fun. I was a big soccer player growing up. And when I got when I first put the stick in my hand, I was like, man, this sport's awesome. It's like football, it's soccer, it's literally every sport encompassed into one. And they call it the fastest game on 2 feet. And I truly believe that. And high school got my start there. Didn't really get recruited. Went to junior college and NJCAA, they call it now. It's JUCO. Yep. Essex Community College is kind of where I got my work ethic and kind of how I made it to the next level there. And then I walked on to one of the greatest, I'm going to say it 'cause I'm a little biased, the greatest Division III program in lacrosse, Salisbury University. Walked on there, never got recruited, and kind of set the tone for where I got in the pros. So
yeah, and that's what I'm excited to talk to you a little bit about, because you weren't a kid. You started playing when you were 5 years old lacrosse, and you were a 5-star type recruit towards college. You kind of had to earn your way there, and you kind of took the long road there. Yeah. So let's take a step back then, I guess. Let's move chronologically of how you got to being the great player that you were. So how old were you when you started to do sports, and what sports were those?
Yeah, so I think, middle school, my dad was a big soccer player growing up. So the sport that he pushed onto us early on, the kind of only sport that I played was soccer. So soccer from, I would say pretty much, that had to be 5th, 4th grade, like little tykes. Yep. Then we did wiffle ball. I played baseball. Baseball was not one of my favorites. My ADHD. I had to be a catcher. Yeah, I'd be out in the outfield, just looking around. So they put me a catcher. I was actually a really good catcher. I love gunning people down at second base, but I had to constantly be involved in the play because I would just lose focus pretty quick as a young kid. But yeah, I would say soccer was my biggest sport growing up. Okay. And my dad got me into that, and I think that made me into the athlete that I was on the lacrosse field, because soccer is just a ton of running up and down the field. So yeah, soccer at a young age. And then as I got older, baseball was there. And then kind of when I got into high school, I kind of focused on soccer. One of my best friends growing up, the Caranta family, Santino Caranta, was one of the youngest players ever drafted in Major League Soccer. Him and Freddie Adu. I don't know if you know those names, but your listeners can look those up. But Santino was, a kid from Highland Park in Maryland, and he went the reason I went to the school that I went to was he was there, and it was a really good soccer program.
Okay.
I wanted to go there and kind of follow in his footsteps. And he left when he was like a sophomore to go join the MLS. So he left in high school to go play pro sports. That's how good he was. He had offers from like AC Milan when he was a young kid, but they wanted to keep him in America. And he had a great MLS career, and he runs one of the most successful soccer training, kind of like what I do with club teams and stuff, but it's called Pipeline Soccer, what he does out there. So he's now transferring his knowledge to kids and hopefully getting them to the next level. But yeah, soccer growing up, high school, and then my 9th grade year, I picked up a lacrosse stick. That was a mistake because then soccer was kind of like, I don't want to play soccer anymore. And I did both all the way through. And then high school, I went to a school called Villa Julie. Villa Julie, now called Stevenson. It's a D3 school in Maryland. Did not like the school very much. It got really bad grades, kind of almost pretty much failed out. I was commuting. It was like, I don't know, it was kind of like a hard transition period for me at that point in my life. I didn't really like school. And then I was like, you know what? I actually dropped out, and then community college near my mom's like, got to get your grades up. We got to get your shit back in line. So went to the Essex Community College, and I was there enrolled in classes. And then I found out they had a lacrosse program, a very good lacrosse program I didn't know about. The freshman class that went there, we played a national championship our freshman year, our sophomore year. And the first year we lost. We won the national championship with 19-0, wire to wire, won the national championship. Sophomore year, lost in overtime in the national championship, went wire to wire again. But all those guys that I met there a lot of them went, it was the best team. Essex Community College, like the best team that has ever played JUCO. We were like undefeated both years. Every single one of those guys went to Division I, Delaware, UMBC, a lot of local schools. And the guys that went local to UMBC were the only team to make it to the quarterfinals. That school has never made it to the quarterfinals. All JUCO team that went to a Division I program did that. And then, so they all went there. I wasn't good enough to go Division I, so I kind of was like, Salisbury was on my radar. I'm like, I really like this school. I'm going to go. I walked on. They came and saw me playing one of the regional tournaments. But I walked on there, and pretty much there's like 95 kids trying out, and I walked on, made it, and that's kind of how I got to Salisbury.
Got started.
That's how I got to Salisbury, yeah.
And jumping back just a little bit, so when you made that transition in high school, I think that's always a hard thing to do, to try out a brand new sport. So obviously you had played, a sport you were very qualified at, you guys were good at. How did you guys have the courage, or how did you overcome some doubt of trying a, brand new sport?
I would say back then it's a lot easier than today. Today it's the curve is, there's so many kids playing. You could name any sport. I'll focus on lacrosse because that's what I know. But lacrosse back then was just, so small. It's still small today, but it's been America's fastest growing sport. At the women's level, it's even greater. But at the men's level too, there's so many kids playing the sport now. Like kids jumping over from football. I think one of the biggest, the head injuries in football. A lot of parents are pushing their kids into other sports. You even hear like Larry Fitzgerald, Drew Brees, who has kids that play lacrosse. Drew Brees comes to some of our professional games, sits on the sidelines.
That's very cool.
But hearing him talk about it kind of like validates like what I was thinking about it, like the head injuries and stuff like that. But yeah, I think that making the jump back then was a lot easier. There wasn't a lot of, we had no social media. We didn't have any of that stuff. Today, it's like you make the jump. It's just a lot harder because there's more kids playing. It's way more competitive. Everybody wants to go play Division I. And I tell kids at my camps, they're just like, oh, you want to go play Division I? And there's only a certain amount of, it's not unlimited. There's only a certain amount of slots. And kids are competing all over the country, and it's gotten crazy. The youth sports level, I'm sure you've seen it, but youth sports today it's absolutely insane. Like
they change game.
Yeah, I train kids on Wednesdays and Thursdays. I have a Basin Rec. It's like elite training for kids that are really serious about it. But they have a flag football league in there, and these kids are like third grade, and they're so goddamn athletic. And it's just like they're so young, and they're so serious on the sport. And when I was young, I was just kind of like having fun. And in high school, it got serious. But I would say making the jump today, it's a lot harder. I would say there's not a lot of kids that are doing that. Maybe I'm wrong, but if you're making the jump today, even me, I was behind the 8 ball, but I lived on the wall, got my stick skills to where they are, because lacrosse is a big hand-eye coordination sport, and if you don't work at it, you can't catch and throw. You're pretty much out. Football, a little bit easier. You can run around and hit people.
Just raw.
But
athleticism.
Lacrosse, you got this small little net. People call it a net, which is hilarious. But you got this small little net. You got to watch the ball go, and you got to catch it, throw it. It's a lot hand-eye coordination. But making the jump, I'd say would be a lot harder today for kids doing that. So
I would agree with that too. I think it's hard because I try and push athletes to play multi-sports as much as you can as like a young kid, 5 to 10, try out different sports. But I agree. Whereas I think for us growing up, you could do that even into 8th grade, even into your high school years, play multiple sports. I think now though it is getting harder because like you said, I see these 8, 9-year-old kids that have been playing it for 4 years and they're playing club, they're playing year round. It definitely has gotten harder than it was.
Yeah.
With that though, I guess what were some things you learned as a young athlete through junior high, high school that you think maybe helped you that you were able to transfer from a different sport into lacrosse?
I think, seeing the similarities in soccer to lacrosse. Obviously, soccer is played with your feet, but being a defenseman, I actually played offense. When I picked up a stick, I played offense for 4 years in high school and played offense in junior college my freshman year and then moved to defense my sophomore year. But I think a lot of the similarities from playing soccer or any other sport, like basketball is a really good crossover sport, the footwork and defense. But I think at playing any sport and you're transferring into another, there's going to be similarities somewhere along the line. So I think playing soccer, it was an easy jump for me athletically going into lacrosse because lacrosse, you're just constantly running, same as soccer. You're up and down the field. Yeah. And then the biggest learning curve was just the stick. That kind of doesn't really translate, I guess, baseball, hand-eye coordination a little bit.
Yep.
But the biggest thing in lacrosse, everything else was good athletically, understanding the game, but the stick was the biggest thing.
Yep.
And someone told me the one thing I learned, Coach Latona, my high school coach, and he recruited like a lot of the athletes in other sports because the lacrosse program was just kind of getting going there.
Yep.
And so he was recruiting football players, soccer players. So all these athletes, it was a mishmash of these guys, which even made it easier because there were some really good players on the team that had been playing lacrosse for a long time. But I would say like a little over 50% of the guys were first-time players, so it made me
not
made me
feel
more
as
comfortable.
Like embarrassed and trying to try stuff out.
Wasn't embarrassed because this guy can't catch and throw either. I think just taking similarities from other sports that I played and translating it, and then the biggest thing he told me was just like the stick's got to be in your hand. Like the more you're doing it, the more in tune you're going to be with your stick. And the thing we preach to kids today is wall ball. Wall ball is the biggest thing. You find a brick wall, you just throw on that brick wall, and you get so good with your stick so quick. And once kids learn that and they're out there every day, when they come back the next year, they're a completely different player. Really? So the one thing I probably learned early on was wall ball was like the biggest thing to get good at lacrosse. And you even hear the greats today, like Casey Powell, the Powell brothers, every one of them, the Gates, wall, biggest thing. Like if you can only do one thing,
just wall ball.
Just wall ball. That's if you had one thing, you weight lift, this wall ball is the biggest thing because it's the equalizer on the field. If you have a better stick than everybody, you're going to find a spot on the field. So.
Okay, that's very cool. Then I guess at what point in high school did you think you had a chance to play even at the JUCO level?
So after my senior year, going to Villa Julie, obviously that wasn't a good story, but failing out of there, kids don't do that. You need your grades, but
focus in school too. You can't just be good at sports. You need to have a plan to be good at school too.
Yeah. So that was actually, I'm glad that happened early on because I learned that lesson. But I think just when my senior year, I was one of the leading scorers that has ever went through that high school. So I was like, I'm pretty good at this. I can definitely go play the D3 level. That's why I walked on to Villa Julie. Yep. And then learning JUCO level was kind of like the perfect stepping stone for me because that level was like all the guys that were there were all kind of on the same wavelength.
Yep.
And I guys, I envy guys like a Rob Pennell that went to Cornell, and I didn't get to do that. One
leading scorer there,
leading scorer, breaking records, breaking pro records today. Just broken up. I actually just texted with him, and he's just like, I'm like, I haven't seen any retirement stuff coming out, so let's say you're playing again. But
still going.
Yeah, so I think my senior year, just learning, about the JUCO level, the junior college level, like I was like, this is a perfect fit for me, and that was kind of after my senior year. I was like, I can go do this. I can play at that level, and then
No, Kyle, I think that's a great thing to point out to people because, of course, everyone wants to go to those huge name schools. You want to go to Cornell. You want to go to Florida, Nebraska, these big name schools. But I do think it's interesting, you're trying to make these decisions when you're still in, high school. You haven't fully grown yet. You don't have all of your weight yet. You haven't reached your full athletic potential yet as a 15-year-old, 18-year-old kid. So I think a lot of people obviously want that. And if they don't get that, and then they just say, okay, I'm done, I guess. But I think the junior college route in a smaller school is not a bad way to go, and it gives you the opportunity, they said, to grow and develop. You probably got more playing time there than if you had tried to walk on to a larger school.
Yeah, and a lot of these kids, man, they're like, oh, I want to go. They give you a list of schools like Johns Hopkins, Cornell, Dartmouth, like all these schools. Like, you realize you're gonna be on the bench for 2 years. You're gonna be doing insane amount of work. You might play right away. Some kids do play right away. It depends on the situation, like the class that's there. We've seen it, but like these kids, like they. You know, the Instagram, the social media, everything looks so good.
So it looks easy and
like,
polished.
oh, this is easy. And you get there, it's like 6 a.m. lift, study hall, practice in the afternoon, film after that. I tell kids, it's a full-time job. Yeah. And, you know, I think just having the correct mindset of what it's going to take. And we do a good job, I think, you know, at Summit, teaching these kids, not when they're young, we're just teaching them, but as they're getting into high school, it's like, hey man, like you got to start thinking about where you want to go if you even want to do it. Some kids are like, I want to go to a good club program. Like where I coach at Texas, like a lot of kids, we had Division I players there, but they didn't want to go to NCAA because they knew in their head what that looked like. It's a full-time job. They wanted to go get a good education. They wanted to go to big football, like go watch some football, have some fun with their friends. And it's not for Division I sports. I mean, you know, you're a great athlete. It's like, it's not for everyone. It's not, I tell kids all the time, I can't teach like, you know, when I was younger, you know, at the JUCO level, like I was in the gym twice a day at Gold's Gym. I live in a town called Dundalk, Maryland. Not a very great town. It's a great town, but like not a lot of there's.
For like
I'm the
sports
only
and
pro
things
athlete.
to do. Yeah,
I think I'm the only pro athlete to come out of there. But I would be at Gold's Gym at 6 a.m. I'd go to class all day. I'd be Gold's Gym at night. I'd work out twice a day because I was so skinny and frail, and I wanted to go play at the Division I level. And I had great mentors, great coaches. Like, you got to gain weight, and this is how you do it. And it's not for everybody. Getting up when the sun's not up yet, getting in the gym, like people are like, oh, working out's fun. Like I would disagree with a lot of people. It's fun, but it's not fun. Like my coach, he's the head strength coach for Team USA. And he, like I'd be driving to his gym in Timonium, Maryland. It'd be like, I think it was like a 45-minute drive. Sun's not up. It's 6 a.m. workout or 7 a.m. workout. And I am just playing. Literally, I'm just driving there and I'm playing through my head. Are we doing double shots today? Are we doing 300-yard shuttles? Are we doing this? Like, it's just like, I think I got PTSD from like those drives. But like, it's all of that stress. You got to do stuff you do not want to do to get to that level. So
bingo. No, I agree. I think that's the hard thing to instill in kids. There's a balance between when they're young, having the sport being fun because you want them to play. You want them to get to maybe train too hard too soon. But as you get older, if you want to make it to that elite level, you have to do things that other athletes aren't willing to do. And that is the training, recovery, like the mental part of it, the learning all those skills and things like that.
Yeah.
And I think you got to be resilient too. That's another thing we don't talk enough about because you're going to have bad games. You might have bad years. You might get hurt. Things are going to happen that are going to put you off the path to kind of achieving those goals. And you got to have the resilience, kind of have trust in yourself and confidence in the work that you've done that you can reach those goals.
Yeah.
I kind of want to talk about what you did next. You went to, for what I read online, it might not be true, but you went to
Wikipedia is true. Everything's true online.
That's right. If it's online, it has to be true. But you went to a D3 school from a JUCO, and you didn't start right away and weren't really a huge contributor those first couple years. Tell us about kind of how you stayed motivated and what you did to position yourself to become a starter. I think just your last year there.
Yeah, my last year. So leaving Essex Community College, going to Salisbury, walking on, making the team. When I stepped on the field, I was like, it's going to be tough to get on the field. You know, hopefully, maybe I can work my way on the field at some point. But I played long pole, and then one of the greatest long stick mezza player of all time, Chase Caruso. He was my roommate in college. We're best friends. We actually lived here in Utah together.
Oh, okay.
He's living in Buffalo right now. We still stay in touch. He comes down here and skis with us all the time. But he was the slated number one, and I was nowhere near on his level in year one. And Coach Berkman was like, have you ever played short stick before? I was like, yeah, I actually played, attack. So I was playing D-midi for a little bit, which is obviously I have a short stick and I have 6 foot of stick. It's a little bit harder to play guys, but I was athletic enough to do it. So I did that for a little bit, and then my first year we made it to the national championship. So every year I played a national championship. It was kind of crazy. Lost amazing. 2, won 2. Lost both the national championships I lost were in overtime, which hurt.
Brutal.
Which hurt. But, and the fashion we lost them was awful. But he was playing in front of me, so I kind of just attached myself to him, learned from him, and worked out, and knew I wasn't like not that I knew I wasn't going to play, how psychotic of a, my mentality is like, I'm playing, but I knew in the back of my head, I'm not playing. Like, there's no way I'm getting on the field this year. But I just attached myself with the correct or the right people in the weight room every day in working out. Because on every team, there's not echo chambers, but there's always a couple guys that are like, this is bullshit. I'm not playing. I'm not doing this. But they're the ones that are going out partying. They're not working out. And not that I didn't go out and have fun, but like there's a certain work ethic you had to have to get on the field and also get the coach's attention and do that stuff. And when I came back my senior year, Chase was still the starting long stick, obviously, better than I was. And then Coach Berkman was like, dude, we got to get you on the field. Like, it's insane how much you improved. Because over that year, I was a gym rat. I worked out. That was probably the hardest I've ever worked out throughout. I continue to work out hard, but that was the hardest I have ever worked out, I think, in my entire career. And then when I came back, he was like, dude, you're starting. So they put me at close defenders with long sticks and those long stick middies. So he threw me down low at close defense, and then I got to play alongside my roommate and started, and that was kind of how I got noticed to go to the pros after that. So
your coach had seen the work you had been doing and saw your improvements. So we found a way to get you on the field.
Yeah.
I think that's important because I hear a lot of times like, obviously politics does play a role, but I tell us kids all the time, I says, take your piece of the pie and be good at it. You can't always blame the coach. It's the coach's son or this happened. Like, okay, but did you make yourself the best player? Because I promise you, as a coach, coaches want to win as much as the athletes, if not more, because their job is dependent on them, being successful and trying to win. So I tell people all the time, like, if you do well and you're a good player, coaches will notice and you will get playing time. You will get opportunities if you put in that work.
100%.
That's absolutely crucial.
And then another surprise, he named me, like, in front of the whole team, named me the team captain too, which was also huge and crazy. I think I might have shed a little tear, but it was cool because, like, kind of my story of how I got to where I got to be named a captain my senior year of a national championship run and winning it, like, that was really special.
And you guys went 23-0, I think?
23-0, yeah. I think 83-1 was, so I only went there for 2 years, so I went to junior college for 2 years, but that class I graduated with, they were 83-1. They lost one national championship.
That is wild. Let's talk, because I really like what you said earlier about kind of the team culture and how important that is and attaching yourself to the right people in that team culture. And this can be hard, especially for young athletes. They come into a sport in college, they're 18, 19 years old, and the guys on the team are a little bit older. And how do you balance having fun in college and being one of the boys or girls, but also training hard enough and kind of finding the right people to attach to train hard?
Yeah, that's a interesting balance. I wish I could have had a camera follow me around in college, but again, social media wasn't around when I was back then. So now kids got to watch what they're doing, because you get put on social media, you're going to get kicked out of school pretty quick. And we've seen it. Like, we've seen it. It happens. But yeah, I think, I like to go out and have fun. I enjoy drinking beers and having fun with my teammates. And, in the fall, I think the best time to do that, because, like, not that it was laid back. We still had our 6 a.m. lifts. We had all that stuff. But we have more of a period of time to go hang out, enjoy ourselves as college athletes. But kind of when the spring came in, we had, 48-hour rule. We had all these rules that we all followed. Good. And, what made going out and drinking more fun for me was having those rules and knowing, a big game on the weekend. We're playing a Gettysburg coming to town. That's, one of our ranked opponents, and we beat the shit out of them. Then we can go drink. We can drink and have fun after that. Sunday comes around, we get our shit back together, we're back to work. And I think, at the pro level, guys enjoy. It's good to enjoy and celebrate wins. And it's and if you don't do that, can't take yourself too seriously, right? You work your ass off. It's okay once a week to enjoy yourself and have fun with your buddies. Because at the end of the day, I think, like, when I was at Texas, like, one of the first things I asked the kids is, like, do you have his number? No, I don't have it. No one had each other's cell phone numbers. So we made everybody get each other's cell phone numbers. And I'm like, what do you guys do on the weekends? Oh, we go. I'm like, do you guys hang out together? It's like, they have a lacrosse house. I was like, you guys need to have, they had like beer Olympics. Have beer Olympics at your house. So the whole team came together. They became a closer team just because of hanging out. And camaraderie and
and that's the thing I've noticed too. So for our sport in bobsled, we travel to Europe. We're gone for like 3 months at a time. And when I first started, we're in these small, like, mountain villages, there was no Wi-Fi at most of these hotels. So we would play spades, we would play cards, we would go out together and have a good time. Now everyone stays in their rooms and watches Netflix or Paramount or watches a show, and there's less
phones.
They're always on. So there's even when we're at the track, there's less team cohesion. So I think if you can find a way as a coach or as an athlete to kind of build that amongst your team. I have, been about part of some great teams, and almost all of them in common have that cohesive. They actually like each other.
Yeah.
You don't always have to be best friends. You don't have to agree on everything, but you have to generally respect what they're doing and respect their work ethic. And I think it helps bring the team together. So when you're in the games, you're in crunch time, you can look over at your dude like, yeah, buddy, like we totally got this versus, and you have that trust there.
Yeah. And like this, to answer your question, like the balance, I think for everyone it's different. You got to find your balance. There's some kids that don't drink. There's some kids that don't go out, which is fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But if you're going to go do that stuff, you got to make sure other stuff's in line. Your grades, your schoolwork, your grades can't slip. If your grades are slipping, that's probably because you're enjoying yourself way too much, and you probably need to dial it back a little bit and find that medium ground of like, hey, where is it at where I can like go have fun, keep my grades in check, and also be the best athlete I can be on the field and contribute to my team. So
that's another good point. That's part of the reason why I started the company that I'm currently doing. I think why you're still involved in sports. I think sports, you learn how to make that balance as a kid in high school, and you can carry that balance into your job, whether it's in sports or in business or in law, and you become a really good employee or a good person because you learn how to have a balance when it's time to work. It's time to work. It's time to party and have fun. It's time to do that. But you have to be able to kind of control your life and kind of achieve those goals. So
and I think sports. I think sports, like if I didn't have sports and I went to college, I think I would have failed out. Like that Villa Julia year, like I've never been to college. So when to college, I was drinking way too much, and my grades slipped, and I was like, hey, you know what, I don't like college. But if I didn't have sports, I think I probably would have dropped out, and it kept me aligned. Like it's something to work for, kept me straight, and I know I needed that structure. Some people might not need that, but for me, I needed that structure for sure. So
then you graduate college, and did you have to try out? Were you recruited to go pro? Did you get a contract right away, or do you have to go try out?
So they had a combine that year in Major League Lacrosse. I actually did not get drafted. So they have a regular draft, and then they have the supplemental draft. So I did not get picked up in the draft. I was the 72nd pick, the last pick in the shit. We call it the shit draft, the garbage draft, the supplemental draft. So I was the last pick in the supplemental draft for the San Francisco Dragons.
It's like Mr. Irrelevant for
Mr.
football.
I was Mr. That's what we call it. We call it that too. So I was Mr. Irrelevant.
That's hilarious.
So I was Mr. Irrelevant. Showed up in San Fran. And one of the best defensemen on the team who played at Salisbury, Eric Martin, one of the greatest of all time. I knew he was there, so it was cool to like, because when I got to Salisbury, he was leaving. So I got to Salisbury, he was out, but I knew all about him, and he was like one of the only Division III guys to play pro.
Played pro, yeah.
So I'm like, okay, now this is the next goal. I'm going to go try to do this. And then got drafted. Mr. Relevant, he was there. I got to learn from him, playing with him that year. It's kind of funny, like Salisbury, there wasn't any room for me on the field, so I was short stick D midi.
Yep.
Got the pros, same thing. They're like, here's a short stick, go play short stick at the pros, which is even worse of a nightmare because the athletes are just so much bigger, faster, stronger. And then like halfway through the season, they gave me a long pole, and then I played long pole for the rest of my career. But so got drafted last and kind of had to work my way onto the roster, and they were like, are you open to playing another position? No, but sure. Give me a short stick.
I don't want to, but if you tell me it worked,
So that, and then had a great first year. My rookie year was great. And then the same team, the GM of that team, Doug Locker, was the GM for the San Jose Stealth, which is a pro indoor team, the NLL. So it's like hockey, playing the hockey rink, to fight. Yeah. And it's a very exciting sport.
Interesting.
So then he was like, hey, you're really good athlete. Like, do you want to come play indoor? And I was like, don't know what that is, but sure. So we played all Canadians. So like we get in the Canadians, like the accents, hey. But I learned how to play indoor lacrosse through those guys. I had a great group of Canadian guys that showed me the sport, and playing professional indoor actually made me a better field player. Better field player. So if you don't know much about the indoor game, the NLL, National Lacrosse League, it is an insane sport. And people always like, do you like playing outdoor or indoor more? It's hard for me to say, outdoor or indoor. But indoor, it's like, best way I can describe it's like a UFC match or in a cage. And it's very intense, a lot of hitting, not a lot of rules. The ball stays in play because of the walls. So your stick skills get really, really good. And you watch like Canadians that come to the Division I level, they're playing in, a lot of the Canadians that play in NCAA college, they have way better stick skills than the Americans. The Americans are better athletes, but the Canadians, they can just catch everything. They got ridiculous handles because they play, as kids, they play in indoors and the ball never leaves. So they're constantly picking up weird ground balls and like the
bouncing
balls,
off of walls.
Yeah.
Different types of things. Okay.
Yeah. So last pick, got there and then drafted, and then that team disbanded. And then I got, there was a dispersal draft. And I went to the Chesapeake Bayhawks. I got to play in my hometown of Maryland.
Very cool.
In Annapolis. So, and won my first pro title there. So that was cool.
One thing I think you brought up twice now, in college and then on your first team, was you kind of found a mentor.
Yeah.
So I guess for these young kids that are going to play college or they're going into high school or even the pro, did that happen naturally? Did you ask them to be a mentor? What's kind of the best way? What advice you'd have to approach to where you kind of get someone to take you under their wing to, help you out?
I think just ask. Okay. Right? A lot of these kids today, I tell them, like, when I train them, we're always around these kids that we train today, and they have my number, and I'm like, hey, if you ever need anything, just reach out to me. I've had... Since I've been here in the month and a half, I've told that to I don't know how many kids. I had one kid text me, and he was at a Ohio State prospect camp this past weekend. He sent me his film. He's like, "Can you give me feedback?" And I gave him all that feedback, and I told him, "Hey man, you got any questions?" And he's been asking me questions, and that relationship is getting built. But I think just ask. No one's gonna be the worst thing that's gonna happen. Someone's gonna say no, and then you just go to the next person. But like. Going to college, the easiest thing is to attach yourself with a player that, is a starter and works his ass off. If you're with him, like, you're good.
You're fine.
You're good, and you're going to the sky's the limit with that. So
yeah, I think that's a good point is most people, when you ask, 9 times out of 10, they will, say yes. They want to see the sport grow. They want to see you have, to be good at that sport. So I agree. Sometimes you can be intimidating to ask someone, I think, because they're 2 years older than you. When you're in college, that seems like a lifetime. Oh, he's 3 years older than me. Like, it's really not that much older. But I think it's important to just ask that question. And don't be afraid to, hey, can you help me with X or Y?
Yeah.
So
I think also you got to earn that person's respect too. Like at the college level, you attach yourself. Hey man, can I come work out with you? You show them your work ethic, you're good, and then you'll check that box. But if you're I don't think any kid's going to school is like, where is the shittiest player and the guy that's partying
like that.
and not playing? I want to be like that.
Yeah.
So,
but it's amazing how many people get attached to them because they become friends or they allow them to pull them down. I've seen some great athletes. I saw it on my team. Some pretty good athletes came in out of high school and kind of got lost in that college lifestyle and really dropped out of sports. And they had so much potential because they kind of chose the wrong pathway and the wrong mentor on that team.
Yeah.
So you were playing pro and you won your first championship. How many years in? Is that year one, year two?
So that was 2010. So 2007 was my last year of college. So 2 years in. Yeah, 2 years in. So won a championship. The next year lost in the championship or lost in the semifinals of the championship, and then I got traded to the worst team in the league that next year. But didn't take long for success to have success in the pro league. Yeah. Team USA that year, you got to submit an application. I submitted my application. I think I was championship weekend MVP of the championship game, first ever defenseman to get that award.
That's awesome.
And no defenseman ever won that award since. Going strong.
One and only, huh?
But Team USA formally didn't. I call it getting cut, but you submit an application, and I submit my application. They didn't want me that year, and then 2014, I was like, all right, F you, I'm coming back. I'll be there. Don't worry.
Try it. Yeah.
2014, I came back, but yeah.
And for that first championship team, I guess, you played on how many teams in the Professional Lacrosse League?
One. So San Francisco, and then they disbanded that team. The owner ran out of money, and they just disbanded the team. So all those players get put into an expansion draft. So San Francisco, the San Francisco Dragons, who I played from the Los Angeles Riptide, the two California teams disbanded. So those players got put in a pool, and it was a draft to the other teams.
Okay. So then you got transferred out to Maryland.
Yep, Maryland, the Bayhawks, Chesapeake Bayhawks.
Then you've won the league championship how many times? 2 or 3 times?
Twice.
Okay.
Yeah, twice. 2 outdoor, 1 professional indoor lacrosse in the indoor league. Yeah.
So I was wondering, what were kind of some differences between those teams where you're able to win championships and the teams, like you said, you got picked up by one of the worst teams. What was? Tell a little about just the culture. Was it the work ethic? Was it the coaching? Was it the locker room? Like what was the reason, or what were some key things you think helped those teams become really good teams and the other ones that weren't?
Yeah, so the Bayhawks historically, when the league had started, the two teams that were always in the championship were the Bayhawks and the Long Island Lizards. So
yeah.
the Lizards and the Bayhawks, like Maryland versus New York, two hotbeds were every year. So that alone, that culture right there is they get to the championship every year, and New York is the champion. There's like a pride of like a lot of Long Island guys. There was a lot of New York guys on that Long Island team, and then the Bayhawks had a lot of Maryland players, and so it's kind of like, I would say, Maryland versus New York a little bit. But yeah, I think the culture, the winning culture that was instilled in that program from day one, just carried on all the way through their days, and it was championship or bust every single year. And the owner there, when I was there, Brendan Kelly, he did a phenomenal job with instilling that and getting the correct pieces, the right players. I mean, the year we won, we had, some of the best players in the world at every position, Hall of Famers.
Okay.
So that makes it easy when you have those guys. But also at the end of the day, having the best players doesn't ultimately win you the championship if you don't mesh well. But in that instance, we had some of the best guys, and we meshed well as a team. And again, a lot of guys were local. We hung out a lot, went out together a lot, dinners, go out and drink beers. That camaraderie was built pretty early on. I think that's the reason we probably won the championship that year, and then they went on to win like 4 more after that.
Okay.
So it was that program, that pro team is just, it's a winning team. It's like going to the New England Patriots when Bill Belichick was there. So same thing.
Tom Brady. Okay. And then you played professional lacrosse for how many years then?
16 years.
16 years.
Yeah. So Mr. Time. Irrelevant, I was the last guy in my class.
7-time All-Star though, right? 8-time or
7-time All-Star. Yeah. And then we have all these like weird statisticians on, like, they're not weird, they're great guys. But they put out these stats, and I didn't even know this, but my last year playing pro, that was 2 years ago, they had like your graduating class. So 2007 was my graduating class. Who's left over
in the league still?
And the number 1 was next to me, and I was the only guy left.
Really? Okay.
2007 class.
That's very cool.
Yeah.
So what do you attribute your longevity to in the league?
Having a great trainer. That can, Jay Dyer, I owe everything to that guy. Even though I was in Maryland for my first like 4 years, I went away for a little bit, and then I came back. Meeting him when I got out of college, Salisbury, I met him, and one of the greatest players of all time, Paul Rabel, who owns and runs the PLL. He was my best friend, or is one of my best friends, and I attached myself with him when I got out of college. I met him through Jay. I wish I knew the story of how I got into that gym. Jay, it might have been through Paul, because we were kind of talking a little bit, but Paul and I worked out together 3 days a week with Jay in that gym. But I attribute literally all my success in injury prevention, not getting injured, sustaining a bunch of injury, ending my career to my trainer. So I think the most important thing, I know I can go work out by myself. I know what I'm doing, but having someone keep you accountable and design a program and keep you on that program is everything. You just got to show up. Yeah. That's it. So.
Well, and that's what I tell people all the time. And, there's a balance, because I know if we have some athletes that want to train on their own, they enjoy it more. But I tell them all the time, I've seen it in the most successful athletes that I've seen, find a group, a trainer, someone to train with, to hold them accountable on the days where you're maybe not feeling 100%. Hey, you know what? This last set, I'm going to drop 10 pounds or 15 pounds. Like, no, you're not. You're going to keep the weight that you told me you were supposed to do.
Yep.
So I think it's important to find the right people and not be. Some people feel like with training and exercising, there's really not a lot of there's not a lot of secrets.
Yeah.
People don't want. I don't want him to know that I'm squatting. Like, you're squatting. Yeah. You're doing jumps. You're doing box jumps. You're doing hurdle hops. You're doing this take. There's no secrets. Get in there as a group and push each other and get better. I see a lot of people who want to keep it private. There's not much to hide. So I would encourage you to get out there and just train with a group, get with a group of guys or girls that trains hard, because it will make you a much better athlete, and it'll keep you from getting injured too.
Injury prevention is the biggest thing for me. Like that, I think a lot of my injuries throughout my career from working out. Working out too hard, too much on the squat bar, not warming up properly, throwing my back out. I threw my back out a bunch. You get in the gym, it's just you're competing, especially at college, like the squat rack. She's like, oh, he's got 315 on there. I'm going to throw one more 5-pound plate on there.
Go ahead and do it. Yep.
So I hurt myself in college doing that, and then all my injuries probably are sustained in the weight room.
Yep. So be smart, push yourself, but also
don't be stupid.
Yes, be smart. So one thing I want to talk about before I talk about you kind of making the transition to coaching is you had a chance to compete for Team USA.
Yep.
So, I competed for Team USA at the 2010, 2014, and 2018 Olympic Games. Lacrosse is not an Olympic sport, but they've tried to get it in there, and there's some work.
It's coming. LA 28. 28, yeah.
So, but you had a chance to compete for Team USA. Tell us about the difference, I guess, wearing Team USA on your chest versus just a a town and a random mascot?
Yeah, I think, you brought any pro lacrosse player in here, you say, hey, what's the pinnacle of our sport? Every single one of them is going to say Team USA. That is
I love it.
You know it. You know it. You've lived it. When you get to represent your country, I know the World Games are the Olympics, but they're not. Yep. It's not the Olympics. Yep. But we have the open ceremonies, bringing your flag out. That was just special. Seeing all the countries, not just us, but like just seeing like England, Japan, and just seeing how proud these guys are of their country. And one good story out of all that is Team Uganda. So they didn't have the funds. They have never been to a World Games. Yep. And we've, everyone raised the money. It was GoFundMe's, raised the money. We had one of the guys that did not play that year on Team USA coached, Tom Schreiber, who was one of the all-time greats, played on the last 2 national teams. He actually coached them, but like they got in the showers at the University of Denver and they couldn't get him out of the showers because they couldn't believe they would turn the lever hot. They just couldn't believe it. So seeing stuff like that is just like how much they cared, and they got their first ever win, and just seeing how excited they were. That's amazing. Pretty cool to see that stuff. But representing your country, it's the pinnacle of our sport. It's like the major leagues. Obviously the pros are the pros, but like we had my first tryout for Team USA. There was 100. I want to say there was 125 guys trying out for 23 spots, 19 roster spots. And it was psychotic. Guys were getting hurt. They actually had to cancel like the last day because it was so competitive. It was so competitive.
That's amazing.
It was nuts. I wish that was filmed because people still talk about it. There's guys in like full body Normatex in the hotel rooms.
Just trying to
just keeping it together. But
recover.
The competitiveness that those tryouts bring out, it's crazy. Like it's nuts. You know that from trying out for Team USA. How many guys are vying to just get those? How many bobsled spots are there?
So we just made our first cuts. We had 21 women. We cut down to 6 for like that kind of, and then we'll go down to 3 at the games. We had.
Do you still take the 6?
So we take the 6 on World Cup, and they'll travel with us to kind of the season, and then only 3 will actually make the games
to get in the car. There's only a certain amount of seats.
Exactly, and that's the hard. How competitive and the atmosphere is just it's awesome. It's so great to see that many people commit that much to it, and they care that much, and they care about representing their family, their country, their town. I think it's different than going professional. There's a team, and it's more money motivated a little bit versus here it's just you're trying to compete.
Yeah, and like going back to that, just how many guys, and there was 125 guys there. There's also hundreds of guys that didn't even get invited to come to it, so they're chomping at the bit. And in 2010, I didn't even get invited to it. You submit your application, so I was pissed off from that. And I'm like, okay, I gotta wait 4 more years. I got 4 more years to improve, and I'll be there. So then that happens. I make the team, and then we go off on to Denver, and we obviously lost in the silver medal game, and. A lot of guys are throwing their medals away. I just hung that baby up on the mirror. It was like 4 more years, we'll get it. We'll get it. But the competitiveness and once you put the flag on your chest, you're representing your country. There's just a different level of competitiveness in the tryouts. Your focus, and it's just I wish I could bottle it up and give it to someone. You just can't.
It's funny once you leave the sport, you just look back and you miss those days where you were just so motivated to accomplish that task at the time. I think it's a really cool story of you, how 2010 weren't even invited. 2014, you trained 4 more years, you made it, but you did not quite reach the goal that you wanted. But you used that as motivation to train even harder. And then 2018, you guys beat gold. Did you beat?
Yeah. So we beat
the same team that beat you in 2014?
Yeah, so Canada. So that's 2014, awesome. That was like they said it was one of the best teams ever assembled. So that was the biggest disappointment. The headlines of like. And it was the guys that we had on that roster.
You were supposed to win it.
It was one of the best rosters of all time, and it was just a huge disappointment. And then it wasn't even close. Then we lost by like 4 or 5 goals, because the indoor game is a lot more strategic. Outdoor game, there's a shot clock.
Yep.
International, it's super boring. This year they're doing away with. There's a shot clock. Thank God. Because if you get up by 2 goals, you can play keep away. You can go wherever you want. There's no shot clock. There's no stall warning. So Team Canada, give them all the credit. I mean, they had their roster was absurd too, and they had every right winning it. But they got up and they played. Come out and get us, and you had to be more aggressive. You make mistakes. Those guys are so talented. They put the ball in the back of the net. So those rules, they don't. I'm not making an excuse, but I want people on TV watching it to enjoy it. And people were like, dude, I can't watch that shit. It's like
They just
20 minutes and the guys are playing keep away.
Yeah.
I can't watch that. I was like, no. But the pro game with the shot clocks is much more exciting to watch. But yeah, just motivation from obviously not being invited. And then I was like I was the only Division III lacrosse player to make Team USA.
Wow.
And Eric Martin, the guy I told you about in San Fran, he had made the national team. What was that, 2010? He was the only Division III player. He won gold medal. So I was like, dude, I want to win a gold medal like he did, and prove people that D3 players can, they can do that too. So, it was just, it was awesome. So
that's what I think it's really cool that you've kind of carried that D3 chip around with you your entire career. That's one thing too. I think I can't stress enough to people how important adversity is in sports. It gives you, if you're always the best, always having, if you don't ever lose, I think adversity, what I've seen, has built the strongest, most resilient type athletes because they've had those lows, and it's during those lows that you're able to train. Then when you're at the highs, you can remember back to when you were at those lows, and you keep training even harder because you've had those, those hard times. Yeah, and I had, throughout my whole career, obviously picking up a stick very late. I was already, my back was against the wall, but being picked, drafted, didn't get picked in the first draft, got picked last, cut from Team USA. I was every single level I was at, I was either cut or didn't start bench. So I had to learn the hard way. And I think I wouldn't cut it any other way because when that stuff does arise and that stuff does happen to me, I'm like, this is easy. I've already been through this shit. Like, I know what's going to happen. Like, we're going to just work hard and then we'll be fine. You'll be fine. Exactly.
we'll be good. So,
okay.
Yeah.
So let's make a little transition. So you played all those years, you decided to retire, and then you decided to coach. Why did you choose, I see your burnt orange
by default
mug here. You went to Texas. And they were a club team. Tell us a little bit about why you made that choice to go on there and coach.
So I was here in Park City, still playing professional, and then COVID had hit and everything was shut down. My business got shut down, so I was traveling the country. I was in a different city every weekend training kids. And then they had you had to do PCR testing. You had to do all this other stuff. I was like, man, I'm not dealing with this. I can't deal with this. So I literally was like a ski bum for pretty much an essential season out of that. And awesome. Then one of the former players, right out of college, I got hired to go to Dallas to coach a high school team. They pay very good money down there for high school coaches. Went down there, ran a program for 5 years. One of the kids I coached down there and clearly made a positive impact on, he hit me up. He was at Texas. Okay. I was in Park City. He was like, hey, man, we're getting rid of our coach. We want to turn this into like a powerhouse school. Yep. We want to get a serious coach. Would you be interested? And I was like, I've heard so many bad things about MCLA, beer league, kids don't give a shit. And I'm like, you know what? Yes, but also with a grain of salt. Let's hear about it. Yep. Interviewed for the job. Everything that they said was great. And what I kind of told them, what they want out of this, they're like, we won a national championship. And I'm just kind of like, do you understand what that's going to take? The schedule you're on right now, it ain't going to be that. We're going to change that. They all got on board with that. And I went down there, loved everything I saw, what they were telling me. And, I accepted the job offer, went down there, and it was some of the best 4 years of coaching I think I've ever had. At a level that's so one of the University of Utah, the club program I coach for now, the Summit Lacrosse. Yep. Brian Holman, who started that. So Brian Holman, he was also when I retired Boston Cannons, he was my last coach I had when I retired. And he started Summit Lacrosse, and then he also took the MCLA job here at Utah, but with the understanding of Division I was coming. So the guy that donated the money for the program to go Division I, they had to coach MCLA for 2 years, but they knew it was going Division I and III. Yep. But hearing his stories, I was just like, I do not want to coach these kids. Because you just hear about kids don't show up to practice, they don't give a shit. And because at the end of the day, the kids are not coming there to play lacrosse. They're coming there to drink, study their subjects, and go. But the top 10 teams in MCLA are ran Division I programs. And that's kind of what we did at Texas. It was still wasn't the confines of an NCAA program, but I was like, hey, and I understood that going into it. My first team meeting, I was like, show of hands, who came here to play lacrosse? Everyone's like, I think one hand went up. One of my players, kind of funny, Jack Eigen, he's probably the best player at Texas. His dad was the owner of the New York Lizards, and he actually was like, my two boys, they were this big when I was playing pro, and I was like, wait a minute, your kids are playing at Texas? So I coached both of those kids that I actually on the Lizards had dinner with and stuff, and they would be in the locker room. But at that level, I had a lot of bad people give me not bad advice, but there was a lot of bad talk coming from that level. But when I got there, man, I would do it tenfold over and over again. But life changes. My wife, work, we had to move, and I had to make a decision, and she moved there for me, and I had to kind of give that up. But we've left it in a good place, man. I still sit on like the advisory board helping out. I helped hire the new coach, and
good.
So it's moving in the right direction. But man, I have no complaints. It was like the 4 best years of coaching, because when I coach professional, I retired, coach professional. Those guys are easy to coach because they're just athletic. You don't really have to coach them that much. You give them a little guidance. MCLA level, you really got to coach. It was some of the hardest coaching I've had to do and motivating I had to do. But man, we got everything. I think I squeezed everything I got out of those kids for those 4 years. So.
And you won a championship, correct?
Yeah, we won. So in over 10 years, they've never won a conference championship, and then the program's been around for 51 years. They've never won a national tournament game. We got to the quarterfinals, I think, back-to-back years. So that was pretty cool to do that. Yeah.
So I guess let's hear one piece of advice for all the coaches out there that are trying to run a program, whether it's at the high school, the college level, trying to get their team to take that next step. I guess what were the 1 or 2 most important things you did to take that team to that next level? Yeah,
I think, man, the biggest thing that I've learned from all my coaches, Team USA coaches, is culture. Culture is the biggest driver of winning teams. When I got to Texas, like it wasn't in a great place. Guys were focusing more on drinking, going out, and social events, and I'm just like, the number one, we get in the team meeting, I have them all write on a piece of paper. What's the one thing you want out of this thing? 95% win a national championship. So you want to win a national championship? Do you have any understanding? You guys have any idea what that takes? We didn't reach that goal. We got very close. I think the second year I was there, we lost in overtime the quarterfinals. That was the closest we've ever got. And those guys did everything that year to get to that point. But yeah, culture change. Like if you go to a new program, or there's, you go to a program that's not the motivation is have fun, drink, and not what we're there for, you got to change that right away. So we got rid of, after my first team meeting, I think like 10, 15 kids quit because they saw what the schedule is. They see what's about to happen. So changing that right away. We focused on weightlifting, working out, strength conditioning, and putting a schedule forth to that goal was the biggest thing I think that drove the culture of a winning culture of getting back to that moment every year. So culture is the biggest thing. If there's shit culture there, you're going nowhere with that. So changing that, whether that's giving a set of guidelines, I gave them offensive, defensive packets, our philosophies, like they never had that before, and these pamphlets they got to read, but instilling that stuff in them, it gives them a pathway to greatness. And I think that's like the biggest thing is culture, and changing that when you get to a program that's might not have it. So
that's great. The other question I want to kind of talk about coaching. What was the difference, I guess, going from a player to being a coach? What was the hardest thing about making that transition to where you no longer have control of the outcome? But what was kind of the hardest thing?
Not playing anymore.
Okay. Yeah.
I think the biggest thing, at the pro level, like people call it, I guess, grieving. Like I played professional sports for 16 years, almost 2 decades. And I didn't really get to like grieve from it. It was just like my head coach at the time, Brian Holman, I just talked about, I retired. He knew I was retiring. So I told him, like, hey man, this is it for me. I can't, my body was kind of breaking down a little bit. And he was like, do you want to coach? I was like, I didn't even have time to breathe yet. But I jumped at it. Like I wanted to go right into it. So yeah, I think the hardest thing was just obviously getting over not playing anymore. And then I've coached my whole life. Like while playing professional sports, I've been coaching kids my entire life. But making the full jump of not playing anymore, the hardest thing is just obviously not playing anymore. But it wasn't that hard. Like when I knew that happened, I gave everything. Once you know you've given everything to something, and if I had regrets and like, oh man, I wish I'd have worked harder, but like that wasn't the case. Like none of that. I won at every level, awards, all that stuff. Like everything I wanted to accomplish as an athlete. There's nothing I have not accomplished. We didn't win a gold medal in indoor with Team USA in the indoor game, but that's going to be probably impossible because the Canadians are just so goddamn good at it. They play as little kids. We do not. It'll happen one day, but man, it's going to take a lot. But that was probably the only thing I did not achieve was winning a gold medal in indoor or the national or Team USA in indoor. But man, it made the transition was easy because I had done everything and I've put all the work in, and I just want to give back to kids and show them, hopefully motivate them to go do what I did and get to a level. It doesn't have to be pro, but like maybe you want to go play Division I at your dream school's Dartmouth or whatever. Get that goal out, like get you there. So that's kind of like that's where my head's at right now, is motivating kids to get to the next level. So
that's important. They need a mentor to help provide that pathway of what it takes to get there.
Yeah.
So with that, let's talk a little bit more. Last couple minutes here, some lacrosse specific things. What are, I guess, two things. What are a few of your favorite workouts that you think helped you become a good lacrosse player as far as like a weight room?
Speed and agility are the biggest things. If you were like, hey, pick one thing you can do, like wall ball is a big one. Lift weights or speed agility. Obviously you need the strength component to be fast and explosive, but man, speed and agility is like, I enjoyed going out on the field in my younger days and cone drills and with my stick in my hand, agility drills that my trainer Jay Dyer threw on us. But man, I was probably one of the most athletic guys in my position to play, and I think I owe that all to my trainer and speed and agility. Speed and agility it sucks doing sprints and running around. It exerts a lot of energy, but man, if you do that, if you're on a schedule, a really good strength conditioning program if you just do it for a year, your next season, you're going to be bigger, faster, stronger than everyone. So I think speed and agility for our sport, as a defenseman, you got to have quick feet. You got to keep your guy in front of you. The guys that are going against you, you're always at a disadvantage. They're running at you. You're running backwards essentially, and then you got to open your hips up, and then you got to catch up to them. So speed and agility, I think, is paramount in our sport. Okay, for sure.
That's one thing I talk a lot to the youth about, especially when you're.
You said favorite workout though, so let me give you a favorite workout.
I see the workout.
300-yard shuttles.
Okay.
So 25-yard increments. Our trainer would make us compete in them, so we'd run against someone.
Yeah.
You would feel so miserable during those that on the field I was
you were fine.
I was sprinting around. I'd be like, oh, I'm tired. I'm like, you ain't tired. Like, remember 300-yard shuttles? Your fifth lap, how bad you feel. Your lungs are burning. Your legs are burning.
So you're doing 25 meters and back, or okay,
down and back 5 times. That's 300.
Okay. Yeah. 50-50.
And we would compete. Like we'd have guys call us out. Like when I was older, younger, I won't name his name, but national team players like, oh, I can beat you in that, because that was like one of my best workouts. Yeah. So he was like, I can beat you. I'm like, cool, I'll be in Baltimore in 2 weeks. He did. Yeah. Jay, my trainer, timed his time, didn't tell me about it.
Yeah.
I timed my time, and he did not win.
There you go. But no, I think it's really cool you say that, because I think it's hard, especially in the high school level.
Yeah.
You're a freshman, a sophomore, your body's not, but you can see the older kids, and they're very, very good. We don't understand that you can quickly close that gap if you're willing to put in that work. And it's amazing when you're at that age, the improvements you can make in your speed, your weightlifting in just 1 year, if you consistently are there 3-4 days a week training.
Just show up.
It's wild, yeah.
Just got to show up. Half the battle is just walking through the door. After that, you're good. Because people, I don't care what any athlete says, the best ones in the world, like, oh, I enjoy working out. No, you do not. Yeah. You don't enjoy getting up at 5 a.m. and throwing up. Like
there may be some days you enjoy it, but parts of it, but you definitely, exactly. I'm in the same way. And then I guess last 2 questions. What would your advice be to youth players now in junior high and high school to kind of help encourage them to get to that next level? You got
to be serious about it. If that's what you want to do, if you're a junior right now, I think if you're a youth player, young kid, just have fun, play multiple sports, play as many sports as you can. I think that's what I did. Basketball, football. I play like flag football, not like competitive, but playing multiple sports made me the athlete I am today. At some point, I think junior high, you probably got to whittle it down maybe to 2. You can play 2 sports in college. There's guys that play lacrosse, and you look at the kid who plays at Notre Dame and plays for the lacrosse team and the football team, starting wide receiver, starting midfielder. Like, you can do 2 sports, but I think once you get to 3, it's getting a little out of hand. So focus on 2, maybe in high school. But if you're serious about it, the biggest thing is you got to get in the weight room. The weight room's the biggest component of that. If you're a lacrosse player, keeping the stick in your hand, you got to keep the stick in your hand. Whatever your skill set is on a sport, quarterback, throwing the football, you got to work on your skill set, and you also got to get bigger, faster, stronger. Weight room, you got to get serious about it. You got to outwork the guy next to you. That's the biggest driver that got me to where I am. So,
I absolutely love that. I think it's easy to see, that you said with Instagram, it's easy to see the end result of people. Oh, that person was they were naturally talented and gifted. Like, no, if you saw behind the scenes, I guarantee they worked.
Yeah, I wish on my promotional flyers for my camps, instead of putting like Team USA on, I should be like cut from Team USA,
exactly.
100 pounds in high school, didn't lift weights, and just like put all the negatives on there and see how many kids sign up for it.
Well, and it's the hard thing because right now I have a nephew who, it's crazy because they're recruiting now much younger. He's going into his junior year. Just, he has a late birthday. He's born in March or April, so he's late for his grade. Just turned 16 years old. So he's going on these recruiting visits. Guys that are seniors or even just have grown before him. It's kind of hard. It's like I've been working with him and he has been training very, very hard. He's getting some looks from some very good schools. But that's what I keep telling him is like, hey, if you put in the work, you'll be fine.
Yeah, literally the rest takes care of itself.
Yeah. The last question, because of the company that I own called the Podium Athlete, you stood there in 2018 with a gold medal around your neck. So when you think of a podium type athlete, what kind of traits come to mind of what it takes to be that?
Relentless, psychotic. I think relentless and psychotic are two of the best ones because for me, you got to be a little crazy to do this shit. Like it's not, especially like playing Division I, you're talking the Olympics, you're talking cream of the crop, best athletes in the world. Every one of those people, yourself included, you've got a little bit of a psycho in you. Like someone inside you that's getting you to the weight room at 5 a.m., you're throwing up, you keep coming back for more. You got to be a little bit psycho, and relentlessness, just showing up every day, being there every day, your drive, your effort. Like you got to have those two components because if not, you're not going to get there. So I think those two are probably it.
I've asked that question a couple of times now. I've not heard those two, and I love it. It is true. If you really think, I tell my athletes in a different way, I say, if you want to be the best in the world at something, you have to train like the best in the world. Yeah. And I grew up watching like Rocky IV, and that's how I envision. If you're not training like that level of training, where like you want to be the best in the world, like you got to train differently. You got to do something. You have to do something different. You have to be. I like that, relentless and psycho.
Yeah, kids ask that question like, "What does it take?" I'm like, just go watch the Jordan documentary. Yeah, just go watch a Jordan documentary. Watch that, and that guy was a psychopath.
He was absolutely. So in closing, again, so you're in charge of hearing. If we have some people that are listening and want to watch your videos, attend your camps, or be a part of what you're doing, where would they find that at?
So Summit Lacrosse Club here in Utah, one of the biggest growing, or one of the largest lacrosse program here in the state. I just fired up my training business. I really wasn't doing that. I put that on the shelf for 4 years because Texas took so much of my time developing that. So now you're going to see more videos. My Instagram, System81, Kyle Hartzell 81. Follow along. I release a lot of videos and stuff on that. I'm going to start releasing a lot more.
Post it. Okay. Awesome. Well, thanks, man.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate it.